It's time for the Drink O'Clock podcast. Talking to esports and streamer personalities from around the world. So pour yourself a stiff one, sit back and relax, and let's get to it. And now, here's your host, Rob Max ABV Valencius.
All right. I think we're live. I always fuck it up, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Like the countdown starts, I'm like, I got this, and then it's like, oh, well, I'm fucked.
Okay, we're live.
So this is episode 4.
Oh, congrats, dude.
Yeah, I mean it's flowing through. I got a good buddy of mine, Parkerish, and I never intro myself. I guess I should probably do that, right? So my name's Rob. Max ABB is my handle. Yeah. A lot of people think my name's Max, but it's not. I just like to drink a shitload. So welcome, Parkerish. What's going on, brother?
Wait, so is Max like your alter ego? Like your drinking alter ego then? It's like to the max.
I guess, yeah. So it's, when I started this journey of streaming, I guess back in like 2019, it was a buddy of mine, this guy Mike. He worked with me, a couple different places, and he was streaming, but he was doing it on like consoles.
Right. Okay.
So
yeah, the OGs. I did streaming on consoles back in the day. It was a pain in the ass.
So I said, "Oh, it was fucking
horrible.
awful. The capture cards were shit.
It got so hot,
so
dude.
bad.
Oh my god, it was sweating in my room.
Yeah.
It was bad. Yeah.
It was really bad. But anyway, he kind of helped me. He like walked me through like what he did. Okay. So we kind of helped create my persona, and I had to come up with. So everyone can fucking laugh at me about this, but my original name that I had for years that everybody made fun of, I was an Xbox gamer, was Skater Boy.
Yeah, that's a classic. I feel like people.
It was before Avril Lavigne, to be fair.
Okay, that's like OG Xbox then. Okay, I was thinking 360. No, that's like OG Xbox. No, that's
like original. The plug in the fucking dial-up
like
cord, barely
or something on Xbox. I forget. Yeah, okay, that's what it was. Yeah, we would go over to my friend's house and his uncle would be playing it. That's the only time I could play it.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
So
but it was great. It was a great game.
It was bad. But I moved from that to Captain Morgan because Captain Morgan, as you know, is one of my favorite drinks. My dogs are named Captain and Morgan. I know you're a dog guy.
Mine's scratching on my leg right now.
Mine's freaking out back here because she just wants to be an asshole.
There. That's how it goes.
And she's gonna bark at some point.
Yeah.
You're gonna hear her. And then when we were creating my persona, he's like, "Dude, you can't really use Captain Morgan. It's
branding
like a trademark
stuff.
thing.
Yeah.
It's So you have to make your own thing." And I'm like, "All right, well, what's unique?" And so that's when I kind of came up with the Max ABV, which stands for alcohol by volume. Yeah. And some asshole on Twitch has Max ABV, and he has one follower and doesn't stream.
Probably has the username up for sale somewhere on a website that has been listed for like 5 years. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have an underscore, which fucking sucks, but kind of is what it is.
The underscore fucks with branding, dude.
Yeah. Oh, totally. And then we kind of moved into that, so that's kind of where everything came from. But anyway, so I like to get this started off by taking a shot. You don't have to do that with me, but if you like to cheers. I thought it special because you moved down to Florida that I'd have a Daytona Beach shot glass for you because I've been to Daytona a couple times.
What a place that is.
Cheers, brother. Now, I thought it a little bit of a special podcast because you always dress to impress, bro.
I try.
I love your fucking attire. So I made old fashions. I actually have two because I always have to have a backup drink.
Yeah, you always do.
And I'm obsessed with Bullet Rye, dude.
It's not bad. So I turned my dad onto it when I turned 21. I was one of those people that like got really into craft stuff. Like as soon as like before I was even 21, my uncle on my mom's side was like into craft beer, like tried to, you know, like making himself and everything, you know, like bathtub beer and shit at first. And then he got in the fancy stuff. Like he only bought the good stuff, you know. So I knew good beer and everything before I was even 21. So I turned 21 and I started getting into like whiskeys and scotches and fancy stuff like that. And yeah, my dad, I think, would drink, I don't know, some like $10-15 bottle of vodka or something. It gets the job done, you know, whatever. You know, it's cheap, it's affordable. You get it from Costco, it's fine.
My buddy was making fun of me because I was drinking I was normally drink Bud Lights, you know, Bud Light Next or whatever. They're
Listen,
beer water.
Yeah, they're all beer water when they're like the 5%ers. You know, it's like there's really no difference. It's just the branding and everyone likes to crap on it. If it's the cheapest thing there and I can buy copious amounts of it and it goes down easy, whatever. You know,
gets the job done. Right?
Yeah, like the fancy stuff is for when you're splurging or like you want to like savor the taste or some shit. You know, so
the guys at work really started to get me. This guy James that I used to work with, he was a bartender, so he's like, listen. I'm obsessed with old fashions. Everywhere I go, I have to try one. So we would travel, and he would always try one, and he would critique it. And it was never to his standards.
God, dude. All right.
He's one of those. He is a little pretentious with old fashions. But now that I've been drinking them, I get it. There's a craft.
There's like ratios. It's kind of like, you know, I've been doing like fancy coffee on stream lately. Like there's ratios and all that stuff that goes into flavor balancing or like balancing acidity or crispness or all those things. Like it's kind of scientific in a way. Like I don't know how sciencey people like to get with their drinks, but you can make some killer drinks, you know.
Yeah, and you gotta respect the craft.
Absolutely,
you know, because people, you could tell who puts their mind and body and soul into their craft. And you know, there's some bartenders that do it really well, and
I have this friend that's a straight edge bartender, and he does it all by smell, and he makes the best drinks I've ever had. It's actually mind blowing. Really? He's been straight edge for like 20 plus years. He does it all by smell. It's crazy. Yeah.
Wow. Well, I mean, to be fair, that makes sense because like I'm addicted to caffeine, dude. That's like my one thing I can't live without. I'm sure you
probably
you know,
like close to over 50% of the world. Yeah, could probably relate to that. Yeah.
Well, I for a long time I'm a Monster guy now.
Oh, really? Okay.
But because it's the middle of the ground energy drink. It's not the poor guy's energy drink. But I get more than what I would get from a Red Bull.
Yeah, or like, do they still make Rock Stars?
They do, but Rock Stars,
so
it
tastes
like shitty bubble gum. Yeah. Actually,
that's how I remember the OG Monsters tasting. Now they have like some pretty good flavors, but
yeah, they've stepped their game up. But like for instance, Red Bull's I consider Red Bull the rich man energy drink.
Oh, for sure.
It's expensive, and what you get is not the same amount. And you probably don't need 24 ounces or 60 ounces.
It blew my mind that they made tall boy Red Bulls. I was like, holy shit. Like, who's drinking these?
Dude. And they're like $6 fucking
they're real expensive. Yeah.
No way, bro. Yeah. But anyway, I can smell a Red Bull from a mile away because I'm just hyper tuned to it.
Like,
I can almost taste it when I smell it. Dude. And I think that makes total sense when you say that he could build something delicious based off of smell because it's so interconnected.
It really is. Yeah. Dude, when I used to work at Urban Outfitters in the mall, when I was a manager, they used to send like the Red Bull girls around with like refrigerated backpacks filled with all the different types of Red Bulls, and they just fill our entire fridge with Red Bull. It was always a really good weekend.
Dude, where the fuck was I? Is my question. I was sloshing it down when I was when I worked in the mall. I worked at GameStop, so
horrible.
They did not visit us, which is
no. Stay away from the greasy nerds.
Obviously not.
The hipsters though, they need it.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Well, the hipsters normally have money.
That's true.
The nerds, not normally too much.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But to start, so I've known you for a while. I think we're going on what, maybe 2 years?
Dude, the pandemic time flies.
Dude, I don't even fucking remember. I don't know what
time it is, dude. Someone was subbed like for 2.5 years today or something like that, and I was like, what? I was like, what do you mean?
Yeah, I feel like we're going on 3 years that I've known you. I think. But I met you through Pipeline GG.
Yeah.
Right?
How do you feel about that?
That's Stone Mountain and Snoopy. You know, the start was cool. I met a couple people through there. You're the only person I kept contact with, just because you were cool. A lot of people that were involved were like clout chasers.
Yeah, a lot of people that like to step on heads to get where they're going and stuff like that, which is, I don't want to say it's necessary in this business, but it's like, it gets you there faster. If you're okay with stepping on heads and breaking a few eggs, it gets you there faster.
But it's not okay.
No, it's
really
not.
isn't.
But also, I had my fair share of it, where you try to call out the bullshit and enough people are just on that person's side. It just, nothing happens. And then you're the one that takes the repercussion for it. So it's kind of like, it's been a learning process, dude. Sometimes you just got to learn to keep your mouth shut and be like, I'm not going to interact with this person. And that's it. Like, say nothing else. Like, just keep going on. If someone asks you about it, you're just like, oh yeah, not today or whatever, like, yeah, that's what I learned, because it's just going to bite you in the ass, which sucks. Like, it's horrible, but that's.
Well, I mean, look at all the Twitch and Twitter drama. I mean, dude, my timeline today,
oh my God,
and I actually feel really bad. Like, I follow a lot of Valorant bros, because I play a lot of Valorant. And like with the franchising stuff, my timeline was just all people that are like, I'm a free agent now, because big name teams just didn't get franchised, which is a crazy. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but franchising with them, I actually had to Google it because I didn't know what the fuck it was.
Okay. Maybe I don't.
It was basically, it's basically like the NFL has owners, right? You have 32 owners,
right? Yeah.
Or the NBA or whatever. Franchising is similar.
Okay.
In that the teams that they pick, I think it's 30 total teams, 10 per region. So it's like US, Europe, and Asia. Okay. I don't know. I could be wrong. But those teams actually will get a cut of the profits of skin sales. And they make millions, dude.
That's different from when I did CSGO stuff. That's wild. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, just the champion skin that they released alone for 2022, but it wasn't even over, and it made $16 million, which a lot of the teams got a cut of.
Bro,
like the top 8 or 10 teams. Yeah, dude. Yeah, think about that shit. So the teams that didn't make it, you got the big teams. You got like Sentinels and Cloud9 and stuff that made it. But some of the other teams that were surprising cuts, like Xset didn't make it. Wow. And they were a big team, and like it's kind of sad to see some of that stuff. But anyway, I didn't want to go into a tangent, but when you look at it from a beef thing, and then you got the gambling stuff that happened with Twitch. I mean, dude, crazy amounts of shit that, Pokemon's fighting with fucking, what's her
I have no
face?
clue. I honestly skipped all that. The biggest thing for me today was like, fucking Matt Gaetz, coming on to Twitch or something like that, after Bloomberg just announced like a child predator investigation into Twitch for grooming and stuff. I was like,
I saw that.
Dude, what's going on here? Like,
well, you know what? Actually, that's one thing I did want to bring up, and since we're kind of on the topic, I didn't want to skip around,
which we're kind of doing, but it's fine.
you know what, man? This is what I'm saying, right? This is my podcast. I don't give a fuck. We can do what we want. This isn't PC. You speak your
my
mind.
party. I'll cry
I'm not
if I
going to
want
hold it
to.
against you. It's your opinion, and we can do what we want, right? So, what are your thoughts on the Twitch changes? I saw a couple things you posted on Twitter. Would you consider moving platforms to like YouTube? I know
it's like
Facebook's on a rocky.
Yeah, no, Facebook is
right now. So
I don't know if you pay attention to like King Gathalion. He's been on Mixer, got a Mixer deal, and then got a Facebook deal, and then moved back to Twitch. Mixer's obviously dead. What he was saying about Facebook is it's probably dying. I think they're actually getting rid of Facebook gaming, from what I heard.
Well, they got rid of the app. I know that.
I think they're actually
they were
getting
stopping
rid of it
the app
in general. I think he heard something about, he has like a friend named Darkness or something like that streams on Facebook, and I think I remember him saying like, reading a comment like, "Are you worried for Darkness?" or something. He's like, "No, he's a smart guy. He'll figure it out." So I think they're shutting it down, and probably Google it if anyone's listening.
Probably for the
But
probably for the better.
But so the only contender right now is YouTube, which is like, I made YouTube videos and used to make money off YouTube back in 2007 to 2010. And I mean, it's a vastly different place now. I have no clue how to interact with it anymore. Like, I thought I knew, there's tag changes, there's algorithm changes, there's shorts now on it, there's like you got to actually put in work for thumbnails, like, which was a completely different thing back then. Like back then you couldn't really upload thumbnails, you had to put it in halfway in between your video to get it to freeze frame at that point.
Yeah, I did not make videos back then, so I have no fucking idea.
It was like very early on when
like.
that happened. Someone's gonna be like, I made videos in 2009. Well, it was different in 2009. Okay, that was like 2007 shit.
Well, you know what? This is what I say. Fuck that guy or girl or whatever.
Yeah, with a cactus.
Yeah,
the nice kind. Like, so it's not pleasurable, but it's not painful either. I don't wish pain on you. So I streamed on YouTube when New World came out. Just as a test thing, I wanted to see how far I could push it. The quality is insane. I mean, now you can stream in 4K on YouTube, which is insane. So if you have, gigabyte internet, which a lot of people do these days, it's totally attainable.
I do.
Nice, me too.
Bougie.
Yeah, and
Pinky's out.
you can stream in 1440p and everything, which is insane. You can hike your bitrate up super high, so like like back in the day with Tarkov, how you'd go through like woods or something like grassy, it would just pixelate fucking like Tarkov. Crazy. Boost your bitrate up on YouTube, not a problem. Because Twitch is pretty much, unless you're a partner, you can't get a dedicated bitrate, and even then it's hard to negotiate in your contract. You have to be a big name to do that. Affiliates and stuff can push it to around 7200 and then 936p, which is pretty good, but you're still going to get a lot of like pixely stuff if you're in a high dense area in a game. I'm so sorry, something's just upsetting them. Good lord.
It's okay. It's okay.
But yeah, I read a Twitter thread yesterday actually that said like discoverability is so much better on YouTube than Twitch, and I was like, hold up, what? And they're like, because you can like send your stream straight to shorts and stuff like that, like immediately from doing that. I'm like, yeah, but no one's like going on to shorts really. Like it's such a small like movement from that. It's better than what Twitch has in a way, but it's worse discoverability technically. Because you still have more, if you go into like your VODs, you can see how many people clicked your stream throughout your stream. Usually it's in like the few hundreds or something like that. With YouTube, like you can just see, okay, this video is 10 views and it's not going to move unless for some reason the algorithm tells it to,
And dude, to be honest, shorts is basically TikTok.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like like if you looked at TikTok,
it's pretty much shorts.
And YouTube shorts, it's the same fucking thing, bro. They just copied it.
I always said if YouTube ever made a directory, like a separate page with an easy to find directory like Twitch, just a copy and paste and only gaming, I would go so fast, like, because that's all it needs. I feel like that's all it's missing for discoverability, honestly, is a categories section that is easy to find. Because you try to tell someone to find you on YouTube, like if you're just test streaming there, they're usually gonna come to your Twitch stream or message you on Discord or something, be like, dude, I can't find your live stream. So, but they're doing a lot of what they can to make it better for streamers, but it's in just such a weird place right now, especially because Githalion, going back to him, said today that there was a ex-Twitch employee that he got a tip from that said like the Prime subs have been put on the cutting block many times over the years. So he's like, dude,
they will have a fucking riot. No, I think
he theorized, and I think he's got a good point, is that with everything going on, I think Amazon is trying to distance itself from it. And this is what he said as well, was eventually they're going to get rid of Amazon Prime to distance themselves further, and then only do Amazon Prime on Amazon, get rid of Twitch Prime, period, and then sell the company to probably Tencent or something like that. Wow. Yeah, and honestly, it's a really good theory, especially with everything that's been going on, especially with them not banning, other categories or keeping it gaming or something like that. Like they're broadening it. So Tencent comes in, it's honestly, it makes sense, but that's probably not for another like few years or something, honestly, or maybe it's next week. Who knows? Like things have been going so
they
crazy.
might have an offer on the table now, right?
But that's all like speculation and stuff like that. It's just I don't know. A lot of people just kind of like talk on Twitter and stuff like that, and it's like an echo chamber. So their favorite like streamer says something, and then they repeat it, and then like smaller communities regurgitate it and stuff, and then And then you have all these people that think their opinion is right when they haven't even looked anything up. They just heard it from someone, you know?
Well, that's kind of the
that's the internet in general,
as a whole
yeah.
Anymore, dude.
But
yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's just it's like a frustrating thing. I'm just like, can y'all just play video games? like dude, you go on Twitter and then it's like 30 pages of negativity. I'm like, I muted freaking probably like 75% of the people I know.
Twitter's
bad.
Twitter is my favorite social
Really?
media. I don't use Facebook. I don't use Instagram. I don't use all that shit. I mean, I can. I know how to use it, but I'm a sports guy too, though. So
It's
like,
good for
I get a lot of my
information
sports
there,
info.
for sure. Yeah.
But it's rough because the negativity is like on
It's a whole
just
different level.
And
Yeah.
So I was, and I'll kind of tell you this story. I was dying. So like last weekend. Trey Lance of the 49ers, he's their star young quarterback. He broke his ankle on the field.
Damn.
So I went on to Adam Schefter's, like one of the biggest NFL reporters. I go on to his report saying, hey, he broke his ankle, hey, he had an ankle injury. He's going to be out indefinitely. And you look at the comments, because that's the funniest shit on the planet. And one guy's like, oh no, is it broken? And some guy commented on it. He took a picture of the guy's ankle, which
I've seen
you can see the bone.
I've seen a few like play-by-plays and stuff of people's ankles pretty much snapping in half. Yeah.
You can see the bone poking through his sock, and he goes, "Nah, it's just a sprain, bro."
Like, I think that's
and
when
I'm like,
Twitter's
"That's
great,
such
though.
an asshole."
Yeah,
move,
but
bro.
like the funny assholery, like that stuff is good. Like that shit's funny. Like I think that's great. Some people it isn't their cup of tea and everything. I'm very sarcastic, so
I love it.
I love that shit.
Yeah.
But I sometimes it's just. It's like, dude, I like video games and shit. Like, I don't even look at like video game announcement tweets anymore. Also because I'm not good with like seeing that shit. It just ruins my day. You know, I wish I were like you where I could just read it and laugh at it and everything. But I'm sensitive, so yeah, not for me. But
it's funny you say that. So one of the things that I kind of want to talk about a little bit, and what drew me to like your content, I love your content, is that you're an open book. You know, you talk a lot about your personal struggles. Yeah. And for me, being a boomer, I'm 36, there's a lot of people on the internet, all they want to talk about is the good.
Yeah.
Right? All they want to show is the good. Everything you see is edited. Nobody's real or genuine.
False positivity.
And I loved your...
Yep.
I loved your content because you're real. You talk about your struggles, and I think that that's great because you have a lot of younger people that look up to you, and they follow you because they see what you're going through, and you're able to kind of talk them through like, hey, I'm going to get help. And like, for me, especially as a male, we don't like to talk about our struggles.
God,
right?
I know, yeah.
We don't. We don't like to talk about going to see a therapist, which, by the way, I was going to be a psychology major.
Really?
I think if you have issues, go fucking see a psychologist.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure.
Okay? Go talk it out. Sometimes if you talk to a third party and they give you a different feel for things, it changes you. I mean, I met my fiance in a teen psychology class.
That's awesome.
That we took in college. Yeah. So like, for me, it's like that drew me to your content because you talk about real shit. You talk about what you're going through, and people can, empathize with you, and you can kind of say, hey, this is what I'm doing. And I think that you can have a positive effect on people who might be going through the same thing. So for me, it's like, if you want to talk a little bit about that, maybe
sure.
You don't have to go into your struggles too much if you don't want to,
no,
but
I'm down.
talk a little bit about, like what you go through. And I think that's good for viewers and listeners to hear because, if you need help, there's always somebody out there, whether it's a friend or a professional that would be willing to listen to your struggles.
Honestly, therapy is my favorite. I had a friend, or a friend of a friend, I guess, Bridget, my partner, was on Instagram and saw their story or something like that. And they were just like, why do I have to admit myself to a psych ward to get a therapist? And I was like, what? Like, have you heard of ZocDoc? You can make an appointment and never speak to that person again. Like, make sure it's covered by your insurance, and you don't even have to pay a dime either, like. And then even that, there's so many other places out there like Rise Above the Disorder that, you can apply for free therapy and stuff as well, and they'll pay for it. there's a lot of resources out there. A lot of them aren't talked about, you know. A lot of people are like, just call the suicide hotline. I'm like, it doesn't, like, that doesn't work. Anyway. Anyway, no, I appreciate the kind words though, dude. I'd never had that put into perspective like that before. So I just kind of like show up and do the thing, you know?
Yeah, I mean, listen, you know, I think from a third party perspective, sometimes you don't realize just the impact you have on people.
Absolutely.
And for me, like I said, I was gonna be a fucking psychologist. That's what I wanted to do in college, and then I realized I need to put in like eight years to get a master's.
Yeah, my friend was doing it as well, and then became an insurance person. Makes a lot of
money.
That's
what I do.
Yeah, makes a lot of money. See,
I don't make a lot of money, but I'm in insurance.
Makes more than a teacher,
but
that's something.
Yeah, I make more than a teacher. I'll say that. But there's something that always just drew me to that field, because you're just kind of talking out feelings. That's really all you're doing at the end of the day. And like, some people I think need that third party. Yeah. I know myself, I get seasonal depression. I'm starting to feel it a little bit right now.
I get it in summer. And, I have reverse seasonal depression. Yeah, I get really happy during wintertime when I can be cozy and stuff like that and not worry about sweating. Probably it's because I'm in Florida now, but I mean, even when I was in New York and everything, it gets really hot there. I just get really bummed whenever it's hot out. And then as soon as it starts cooling off, first cold front of the year or whatever, snap right back to just being happy as a bee, you know?
That's wild, man. I'm the exact opposite. As soon as it gets cold, like today, it was 60-something degrees up here, dude. And it was raining.
Nice.
And I'm like, I'm at work today, and I'm like, I just want to leave. I mean, it's either that or I want to walk out into traffic. Yeah. And like, that's how I felt inside. And I'm like, and I texted my fiance Tasha. I'm like, I just don't feel myself today. I think I'm depressed because of the way I was born in July, dude. I'm a summer baby,
you know.
But I didn't feel like seasonal depression until maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, which is kind of wild. I never had it affect me until pretty recently.
Wow. Okay.
And you know, for me, it's just talking it out. So like, I have to. I text my fiance, and I'm like, listen, this is how I'm feeling. Like, I don't know what to do, and she normally comforts me, and it makes me feel a little bit better. But you still just feel depressed. Like, there's nothing you can really do about it.
I mean, it's one of those things, you know, that's just something you got to find coping skills for. You know, there's no real like, okay, like you can talk about it and feel better, but also be at terms with it, you know, and just kind of be like, all right, I'm feeling like this right now, and I talked about it, and I'm not, you know, I feel like a lot of the time when you're just talking it out or something, you just want someone to tell you that it's normal. You can feel this way, you know, and you're not crazy or whatever. So I feel like,
and I'm not a medication person.
Yeah, I'm not either. I'm not a big fan.
My family
but it works for other people. You know, it's just not for me.
Yeah,
you know,
I mean, my family has a history of abuse. Okay. So I try, like, you know, my brother's an addict. He's a year recovery. Nice. Congrats to him. I love my brother. Yeah, absolutely. It's tough, man.
It is.
You know, I mean, and that's another thing, like, you know, being in the psychology field, I understand that addiction is a disease.
It is.
A lot of people don't look at it that way.
You can't just quit. Like, it's not, it goes deeper than that. It's a routine. It's a ritual. It's like dopamine reward system stuff. Like, there's a lot of different facets that go into it. Like, I had, you know, I was addicted to a bunch of different shit when I was in high school before I was kicked out and then forced to go cold turkey because I didn't have a car and I was just at home and I was sweating, like, and then it would have chills and then I would like dry heave until nothing was coming. It was bad, dude. Like, it's gross. It's like, withdrawals suck.
I could never imagine it, man. I could never imagine it.
But it gave me
and I wouldn't wish it.
Perspective.
I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy, though.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. Like, that's one thing that I'd like, that and cancer. Two of the things that I won't wish on anybody, you know, like totally shitty things.
It's awful. And I mean, like, so for me, it's you know, just thinking about those things, it's like, you know, it affects you. But that's just, I wanted to say thank you for your content. No, I think that what you do is important. And, you know, you can help people who are struggling with the same things that you struggle with. And, you know, maybe you don't hear it all the time, but I think this is a good platform to kind of talk about it.
Give me 1 sec. My dog's deep throating my my plant, and I need to stop her.
Yeah, do you, bro? Jesus, man. I will tell you, there is nothing like a good fucking old fashioned.
Oh my god, dude. I was exaggerating when I said she was deep throating it. I just pulled that out of her like stomach. Like it was all the leaves were gone too. I hope that's not toxic.
She'll shit it out, dude. My dog. Let me go over the things that my dog has eaten and survived. Okay, so and this is gonna be disgusting, so I apologize. This is when we used to put the trash can on the floor, which is a terrible mistake.
Yeah.
But as a dog parent, you learn as you go,
for sure.
right? It's
Especially
like having a
the
kid.
first time you have a dog. Yeah.
Yeah, so Tasha used to throw her used tampons in the trash, typically, right? In the
Easy to
bathroom,
get one,
because that's
yeah.
normally what you do. And so my dog decided one day she was going to go in the trash because dogs are attracted to blood.
Yeah.
And she ate 3 whole tampons
Jesus
used
Christ.
with the
Oh my
applicators.
god.
So I come home and, she's freaking out. And she's like, I think she might have ate one. And
Or
we
a
didn't
few.
know the extent that she ate 3
God, dude.
because shit was just missing. And then, so meanwhile, I'm rushing her to our vet. And we get there, and I'm like, X-ray, do whatever the fuck you need to, because I'm a dog person, and I'll fucking charge that shit. I can't have her die. It was our only child at the time, then before we got captain. And so they X-ray. They're like, yeah, she got a lot of shit in there. You need to take her to the emergency room.
God.
I'm like, cool.
Yeah.
On my way to the emergency room, she starts dry heaving in my car, throws up 2 tampons
In your car.
on my floor. On my floor in my car. And I'm like, 1, I'm mad because it's my car, but 2, I'm like, geez, oh my God, thank God. And then so we pull over. I call Tasha. I'm like, hey, she threw up. I think we're good. She starts dry heaving again and throws up the 3rd one. I'm like,
At
okay,
this point,
please
just
tell
get it
me
all
there's
out.
no more.
I'm just like, oh my god, dude.
Okay, so that was the first scare. The second scare was that she somehow, Tasha was doing Invisalign for a little bit.
Oh.
She ate an entire Invisalign tray, which we didn't know that dogs are attracted to shit that you put in your mouth for some reason.
Maybe
I
guess
don't
they
know
can
why.
smell like germs on it or something like that or something. Yeah, that's weird.
It's weird, dude. But she chewed, and I don't know if you've ever seen the plastic on those.
They're pretty thick.
That's sharp as fuck.
Oh, that too, yeah. I never touched one, but yeah.
We go to the emergency room. At this point, I decided I need to get insurance, which I did after the
Pet
fact.
insurance
And we
is
haven't had any
expensive,
issues
dude,
since.
but it helps a lot. Like once you pay
not
it
too-
off, like that shit's great. Like the first few
It's not
visits,
too
yeah.
bad, dude. I could tell you a place. This is not a sales pitch in any way because I don't
I
have
mean,
anything,
I already
but
have pet insurance because we had shit happen. But if you want to throw it out there
really?
for anyone listening, go ahead.
FIGO,
FIGO.
FIGO. It's an online pet insurance. I pay $40 a
That's
month.
not bad.
And it's a $500 deductible, unlimited coverage.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, that's actually pretty sweet.
So-
Hell yeah.
He's like, I'm gonna write that down.
Yeah, I think ours was a pretty high deductible. I think it was like 1,000 or something. It was crazy.
Yeah. But anyway, so we get there and we're freaking the fuck out. What are you doing down there? So she goes in. They come out. The guy's like, all right, come back. So we go into the room and he's like, listen. He's like, we can do an X-ray if you want, but she's not in any distress. We've done everything we could. He's like, to put you at ease. This is the story he told me. He's like, I saw a dog once eat an entire bowl and shit the bowl
just
out.
like the bowl, period. I was waiting for like a bowl
he didn't
of what?
chew
It
the
was
bowl. He literally swallowed a bowl
Oh my god, dude.
and shat out the bowl.
Just the whole bowl. Was it plastic?
And so my question is no, I think it was a legit bowl.
His poor ass.
So my question is do you throw the bowl away?
or just throw it in
Or
the
do you
dishwasher?
wash the bowl and use it again?
I would. I think it depends, dude. Like, do I?
It depends on the bowl and my love
living
of the bowl.
situation and stuff. Like if I'm like years ago living in my shitty apartment, and I don't really want to buy another set of bowls or whatever, and
You only
I
have 3 bowls total.
Yeah, I like rinse it or like wipe it off all the residue and throw it in the dishwasher. I don't know, but like now it's like if it's like a bowl or whatever, I just throw it away and now I have like 9 bowls from over the years. Like what's one bowl, Like I'm gonna go.
You
through
start
9.
to collect them
Yeah,
as you
do.
go.
Yeah, it's
you know?
right.
It's like forks and knives. And
It's being
shit,
an adult is gathering.
I used to only
tons of
have, I
different
think,
ones.
2 forks.
Yeah, exactly. And then over
know?
over the time, you have 4 sets of different sets of forks. You know, and you're like, shit, I got the salad forks. Yeah,
So,
sorry, we got way off track with the.
yeah, it's okay. It's okay. You love dogs.
Yeah.
I love dogs. Talk a little bit
Okay.
about your dogs because you post a ton of shit about
Yeah.
your dogs. Tell the audience, what type of dogs you have, their names,
I have
if you
a
like to say their
3-year-old
names.
miniature dachshund that we got in Florida, actually, when we lived in New York. Flew down and then grabbed her and then flew back up with her. She's 3 now. And then we rescued a full-size dachshund, which is actually, he's a blue-haired dachshund, I think is the name. He's like pretty fancy, but we were just looking for another puppy, and someone was like trying to get rid of him on Puppy Find, and he was like, I think he was like 4 to 6 months old or something, like really cheap too. In the pictures, he looked like shit. Like he looked really bad, just super gaunt, like just really like sad as well. And I was just playing World of Warcraft, and she was like, "Should we get him?" And I was like, yeah, if you want to get him, let's go, whatever.
Yeah, that's it.
And we got him, and then
You already have one.
I was like, we kind of were talking about getting another dog anyway, so we were like, yeah, whatever, let's go do it. And then the owners were like, yeah, we'll give you all his toys and food and stuff. They didn't give a shit. Like they just gave us him, and then they left, took the money and left. So.
Oh my god,
Yeah,
I could never do that.
I couldn't either.
My
yeah.
obsession with dogs.
Like even as mad as I get, I'm like, I should give you away. And I think about it, I'm like, fuck, I can't do that. Like it would hurt me too much. Yeah, they're cool. They like eating each other's poop, which is disgusting and also really annoying.
My mom's dogs do that.
So do my mom's dachshunds do it too. I don't know what it is, but we've tried so many things like stuff to put in their food to stop them to do it. They just love it so much. Nothing can stop them in their love for eating poop. So
That's so
it's
disgusting,
so gross.
but hilarious.
It sucks, and then I'm like, and then I'll make fun of them for it, like, and then that's fine. But yeah,
You get some kisses and you're like, oh, that does not
well, we have
smell
like a
appropriate.
thing where like, my Bridget will wake up at like, I don't know, like 10 to 12 or something like that. So if they ate poop in the morning, I'll be like, hey, they ate poop. So we know not to let them like lick us or whatever, and then if we're mad at each other, we won't tell each other that they ate poop. So they'll get poop kisses.
Oh man, that's so fucked up.
It's
That's
mutual
so
though.
fucked up, but
It's like
hilarious.
mutual though. Like we'll do it both to each other. So it's like
Poop
yeah.
kisses.
Yeah. It's they're gross. Honestly, I feel like we probably should have gotten them like we got Pumpkin, and that was when we had a small apartment in New York. So her with potty training was way different. Like Franklin can hold it for hours and hours and hours. Pumpkin is so used to just going whenever she wants on like a potty pad in New York.
Yeah.
Like so that took like the longest time ever. But yeah, they're cool. They're fine, I guess. They can stay like another year at least. I don't know.
I have mine trained. We have it's called a puppy apartment.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's
I think I know what that
It's got
is.
an area.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got an area for a pad and then a bed. And they don't use the bed anymore because they sleep with us. But the area for the pad, like I never have to get up in the middle of the night. They just poop or pee on the pad or whatever. And we take them for walks throughout the day. But like it seriously has helped like us be able to sleep and not have to fucking worry about them. We don't. I mean, we have a yard, but it's not fenced in, so we can't like just be like, hey, go ahead. Let them go or whatever. So that's helped.
We have a fenced in yard, but my girlfriend is scared that a falcon, because we have a falcon problem, is gonna swoop down and take one. And I'm like, that's an irrational fear. And she's like, it's happened before. And I'm like, when? In like 1980? Like,
No. Do you know what an irrational fear is? My fiance is. All right. You know what? I'll give you 2 guesses what her biggest fear is in life, and I'll give you a hint. It's some type of animal. If you guess it, I'll take a shot right now.
some type of animal. Can I like ask a question about it? Okay,
Sure.
Is it small
You know what?
or is it
I'll
big?
give you. It can be both. That was the worst question you could
that
ask.
sucks. Wow. Good thing my soul's not on the line or something. It could be smaller and big. What the fuck? A horse?
I'll give you 3 questions. That's one.
Well, I already guessed. So, because in my head
it's
I'm
not a horse.
thinking
It's not a
miniature
horse.
horses or horses.
It is.
Like
It is something you would never fucking be afraid of if you're a normal person.
They're big though. What the fuck? All right. Last question then. Is it like a rodent? Fuck.
No, you should ask how many legs it has.
How many legs does it have?
6 to 8.
Centipedes or millipedes or whatever the fuck they're called. No?
Spiders. Her biggest fear is squids. Exactly.
Damn, I should have asked if it was a land animal or a sea one. Oh my god.
You should exactly. I was gonna say something, but I'm like, you know what? I gotta let him. I gotta let him do it.
I see, and I'll never forget that now. Now, if I'm ever faced with a question like that again of an animal, I'm gonna say land or sea. That's it. Yeah.
You should see. See, this is. Do you see this? This bothers me. I fucking fixed my camera multiple times, and there's always this little fucking shit that shows up somehow throughout this process. It opens. Anyway, it's funny because we were drunk one night, and we were probably like 24 or 25, and I thought she was joking. She's like, "You know what my biggest fear is?" And I'm like, spiders, bears, whatever. She's like, squids, and I'm like, "What the?" But
did you get an explanation?
So she goes. Yeah. Oh yeah. She goes on her phone, and I mean, when she explains it.
Yeah. I mean, they have like beaks and shit. That's weird. You know?
Exactly.
Like,
she's like,
but yeah.
She's like, look at this fucking eye, and it's just big eye. You're like, okay. Yeah. She's like, but you could go in the ocean; they'll just grab you. I'm like,
well, yeah, I mean, like, I guess it depends on where you are. I've seen some pretty big squids, but also like it goes back to like, they're not just gonna like grab you unless you're like in their shit or something. I guess.
But
I don't know.
So I fucked with her for like a year. I called it Squid Mondays. So I Googled squids, and I would just find the most fucked up squid picture I could, and I'd post it on Facebook.
Jesus.
Every Monday for a year. I stopped doing it because I ran out of pictures.
That's a lot of squid pictures. Eventually, you're just going to have to take your own.
So that's an irrational fear. Because you probably aren't going to run into a squid that's going to kill you.
And also fuck boats, so,
Yeah. Exactly. I've been trying to get her to take a cruise with me for years. She doesn't.
Dude, there's something about boats I just hate. I'm just like, just being in the middle of the sea or something. Like I get like that in an airplane. I don't know which is worse. I guess the boat has other smaller boats you can take out of there, or like and then you're not crashing unless you're the Titanic. But like, I mean, we have technology now, so get fucked 1920s or whatever, or whenever that happened. But yeah, I guess I'd rather be in a boat than a plane, I guess, depending on like the boat. I don't know. There's some fucked up stories about boats, though. One of the coolest
things.
I don't know.
Yeah, one of the coolest things I did was take a cruise.
Really?
And I did this when I was like 22 or 23, and it was actually a lot of fun. It was way more fun than I thought it was going to be. The rooms are really small, so if you're claustrophobic, you're kind of fucked.
There you go. All right.
But I will tell you that the covers, and I still remember this, they're like, they feel like 100 pounds. So like you just lay down and you get under the covers.
So you don't like get seasick or whatever.
I don't know what it is, dude, but you basically you're like, all right, I'm sleeping. You won't be tired, but the moment you get under the covers, you pass the fuck out.
They don't. At least they don't splurge on the sheets. It's not like a hotel. True. They're like actually okay. People are gonna be in their bed a lot. We gotta splurge on this.
So someone from work ruined hotels for me for the rest of my life, and I'm gonna ruin it for you and everyone else.
Oh no!
If you stay in a hotel, apparently, with the bed sheets, they only change them once every 30 days.
What the fuck?
Yeah, you can imagine what typically goes on in a hotel. Yeah.
Murder.
So you should probably murder and semen.
Oh no!
There's a lot of that. So, the next time you're very comfortable in your bed in a hotel, there's probably blood or semen somewhere.
Pog.
Exactly. So she encouraged me.
That's great.
She encouraged me to make sure that I always bring my own shit, and then you should never walk if it's got carpet. You should never walk on the carpet.
Yeah.
Barefoot. Always wear something before you walk.
Maybe I should
so,
invest in
yeah.
like those, like, you know, people who have like slides they wear around the house or whatever, like house shoes. I've never been a house shoe person.
I have them.
Yeah, maybe I need to invest in them then. Huh?
You should. Honestly, it's nice because if you have like they're Jordan slippers that I wear, which
Hell yeah.
my brother gave them to me. But they're comfy, and I could wear them pretty much for everything around the house.
Nice.
So I just throw them on, and like if I need to run outside, I don't need to put on my shoes. I just have my slippies.
Yeah.
You know.
I need to. I mean, I don't know the next time I'm ever going to be staying at a hotel, but yeah, I need to invest in those. They got some like
You're like, never again.
But also, like, I never had a reason to purchase them, and now I do. So it's like on my list, you know. I need a rational reason.
Dude, our conversation has been great so far. So I did want to talk a little bit about your stream, about your content, about what you do. No, dude, don't apologize. This is great. I fucking love it. We talked about the thoughts on your Twitch, the Twitch changes, so we're not going to go into that. But one, I want to put this in the recording. I was your first subscription.
Yes. Yeah, and then I opened a bottle of champagne. It was great. It was awesome.
You did. And I think you cried a little bit, which was fucking
well, dude,
awesome.
because like
it was
within the first week, I had every single emote slot unlocked back when there were only 5. So I was like, this is sick. Let's go.
You're killing it. And then I convinced you to keep drinking, and that was a terrible idea.
I mean, honestly, there was only one time on Twitch where I got drunker than that, and that wasn't a good time. So. I mean, like, it was good until it wasn't good, as drinking goes, you know. So.
But dude, it was great, man. It was awesome, like I said, you're one of those people. You put your feelings, you wear your heart on your sleeve, and it's fun to watch you because you kind of just like you do what you want. It's your channel, you know. So talk a little bit about what you do. I know you're big into horror nights and horror games. Yeah. I loved your Elvira mouse,
dude.
By
yes,
the way. I thought that was a mouse pad. I thought that was
I should have bought
hilarious.
that. I didn't even check how much it was. We're going back this weekend though, so if it's still there, I might pick it up. You know,
I feel like it would be comfortable on your wrist.
Absolutely.
You know,
snuggled in the bosom.
But talk a little bit about your content, the games you like to play. Go for it.
I don't have content. Dude.
I will. I'll take a shot to that.
Dude, yeah. I mean, like I said earlier, I made YouTube videos a long while ago. And then I had it was back when I started making YouTube videos and getting paid for it when I was in middle school. But because I hit puberty early, and then I'd make my voice super deep, and everyone thought I was in high school or graduated or something. It was great.
Yeah.
And then eventually got into just experimenting with drugs and everything, and then you get into high school, and then you get people that are also making YouTube videos that are jealous that you're getting paid to make YouTube videos. So then they comment your address and your full name and stuff and where you live on YouTube. And back then it was dumb easy to make a new account. They didn't have the email set up or anything. You could just make a new account with a random email and get right back into shit posting, you know?
Fuck.
Yeah, so I got being 16 or whatever, or 15, 16, whenever I stopped, it was oh dude, I don't know how to combat this, or you totally could have just ignored it, you know, and kept going because you had something good. And it was YouTube was just about to take off for making you millionaires and billionaires and stuff. At that point, it was unheard of. People were making hundreds of thousands, but not billions, you know, it was about to blow up. And then I had my parents that were you're failing classes, you're doing the wrong thing. This is dumb. You're not making that much money. Not even, you know, regarding the fact that I was even making money off of playing video games, which is an amazement in itself. Back then, it just wasn't a thing. So I eventually stopped, and my content on there was a little more planned out. I did a lot of what I thought was missing in the whole gaming YouTube world, or just in YouTube in general, was but gaming specifically was mental health talk. No one was doing it at the time. No one was talking about mental health. I had a few sniping clan members that we had talked about it with, and I was why don't people talk about this more? It's nothing crazy. Everyone feels it. They just kind of don't talk about it. And it's a pretty big thing.
Well, it's been a stigma for a long time. It's been a stigma for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I had to teach my parents everything about it and help them grow and learn and everything with mental health. You know, back in the day, they didn't even know what anxiety was. They were just like, you're just like scared. You just need to do it, you know? Which is difficult, but like it's a time thing. Like it's a symptom of growing up in an era where you don't have that stuff. So like we're kind of privileged, you know, these days to have such a wide connection and have people. God, there are things people talk about now that I wish I don't see, but I'm glad people talk about, you know, like people just be talking about rimming and, you know, like I crazy shit on the internet and be like, damn, I'm sad. I wish I were getting rimmed. Like, and I'm like, all right, you know, like it's like that easy now. And it wasn't even like that, like 10 years ago. It's crazy how much easier it's gotten to talk about that stuff. But, yeah, did that and kind of like blew up from that with a company called Machinima Respawn. And I wish the videos were still up. They were at one point, I think when I first started streaming, and then I guess they deleted everything. Because when I would Google or like YouTube my name or whatever, like there was like one shitty video that was posted before I blew up that was like so stupid. And then there was another one from like Halo Reach or something like that, another stupid one. So I like show people that and they're like, all right, well, that was like 600 views. And I'm like, all right, but those aren't the ones. But yeah, so I did that and then, you know, got the people posting my information and stuff, quit that, got into hard stuff. And then just years went on and my brother kept being like, dude, like you watch Twitch all the time, or like back in the day it was Justin TV. Like you watch this all the time. Like that's what you used to do, but just live. You could do that. And I was like, nah, or like I'm done with that. Those days are past, you know, like I got a job, I'm doing all this stuff. And then I met my girlfriend and I was just kind of like working jobs, like work jobs or whatever, making okay money, doing like retail management. And then I was just like,
there.
And then I was just kind of like, damn, I hate my job. And I was looking for jobs to move in.
I'm there.
Her. Yeah. In New York. And she was like, well, what do you really want to do? And I was like, I don't know. I feel like I could do this pretty well, or at least my brother tells me I do. Like I watch these streamers and I'm like, damn, I wish they did this more. Or I wish they did this more. And she's like, well, why don't you do it? And I was just like, I don't know how to do that anymore. But I mean, I feel like maybe I could. And yeah, I literally like used some of my savings and then like took off and moved to New York and then bought a computer and ordered it there and then just started streaming. And kind of with the same outlook on it, I'm kind of getting back into it now with the mental health focus because like I was talking about earlier, there's just so much drama. Like I just like hard to get back into Twitch when you see like the cesspool that is how people like step on heads to grow. Like when you're in the middle of that, you're just kind of like, fuck, dude, like you're watching someone else's stream and then they like literally rip something from your stream the next day, but like, and then post it and then they get like, you know, 10,000 hits on it. And you're like, I did that yesterday. Like an obscure thing. I put a webcam under my desk and like pretended I was scared from like a raid or something like that and had a microphone down there, like a doomsday bunker or whatever, right? I've never seen anyone else do that. Never in my life. Go to this guy's stream.
I've never seen anyone else
go to this
do that.
guy's stream. What does he have? A webcam under his desk and a like a fucking military helmet on and a microphone down there. I was like, all right, sweet, dude. And he did that for everyone. And then I was like, shit. And then he's like got like close to 1,000 views now, like viewers. Like he just ripped it from everybody. Like, but it's like, and then you try to call him out with like shitty community running or bullying or letting things run rampant and shit. And everyone just ignores it because they think they're such a great person. Or like they have so many like higher up buddies that just kind of like defend them, and you're just like, well, and then everyone in the community that was sort of like in between them were just like, well, I don't want to hurt his feelings, so I'm gonna go over to the bigger guy, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah,
it's like we talked about earlier, right? It's all about the clout.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they want to just kind of ride on coattails, and you know what, man? Like, yeah, that's fine. You'll get some shit from it. But if you're not yourself,
it's gonna be hard.
At the end of the day,
you're gonna burn out.
You
eventually.
Can't grow.
Yeah,
and like for me, like I like streaming, but like this the podcast thing and like kind of getting a feel. Like my whole point for doing this was getting a feel for people behind who they are on the screen. Because sometimes I think that people don't see how influential you are to people until you really kind of like peel back some of the layers, you know? And I mean, for me, it's definitely like that for me because a lot of people don't I don't put my business out there. I've never been like
Yeah,
that,
which is normal. Like, I just a totally an understandable thing. I mean, like, there's like, you don't have to put your stuff out there. Like, that's why, some people come in and they just want to talk about dicks. And I'm like, all right, cool. And then some people are like, yo, dude, I got adopted and it's been fucking with me. I'm like, all right, let's unpack that. Or like, if you don't want to talk about it, whatever. Like, it's everyone's, at the end of the day, it's someone's decision to share or not share. Like, whatever works for you works for you. So.
But it's nice to like for me, when it came to Twitch, I always liked like going into a stream. Like, I like interacting with people. So like I follow a couple of the big people.
There are a few that ban just like a lot of dumbassery, and their chats are the easiest to read chats. Like, I would even be able to keep up with it like now without the experience, because they just ban everyone that's just like saying dumb shit. Like, they have their vibe, they have their community, and and people understand that, and they just do that. Those are the big channels I like to go to. Or just like Sequisha, you can watch him barely move in the chat room, and he has like 3K average viewers, and I'm like, this is nice, this is good stuff.
Yeah. I like to go to people that have 10, 20, 50 people, because then I can really interact and like get a feel, and like that's how I met some of the people that I've either interviewed or became friends with. Because at the end of the day, if you're on someone's stream and they have 1,000 viewers, sometimes it's tough. And like, I know this as a streamer, even like if it gets bumped to 20 and the conversation's going, sometimes even with 20 people, it's tough to kind of keep up.
Yeah, it absolutely can be.
Which sounds crazy.
Well, the thing is,
but
like, being at that point before all the drama happened, and then I reevaluated stuff, and then got a fear of like raiding people, because I was like, shit, what if this happens again, which like I've gotten over now. Like I said earlier, I was just like, if that happens again, whatever, I'm just not going to interact with that person. Who cares? Like, I'm not going to make it a big deal anymore. I'm not going to have like ill feelings or anger held towards anyone. I'm gonna just do my thing, and then if I don't agree with it, just move on. But I mean, back before that, I was averaging like 30 or 40. I think I actually was like 20 away from making partner, which I don't care about at all, because it's the same thing as affiliate. Like, you just have a shiny badge, like the clout badge next to your name, and people pay more attention to you, I guess, which is weird that that's even a thing, but whatever.
Fucking check mark,
the fucking check mark. Yeah. And then people like all of a sudden are like, oh, you're a partner too. Okay, I get to talk to you. like what? That's weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I was averaging that much, I mean, it's a weird space, because sometimes people like to gravitate towards smaller streamers because they can have conversations with them. So if you have 30 people that are there to have a conversation with a smaller streamer, it's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be about 30 people typing at once,
Yeah.
And that gets overwhelming. I think like the hardest thing, I would say, that a lot of people, if that's the path you choose to take, if you just can riff for hours and hours and hours and keep up with that chat, like, go for it. But like, for the people that can't, like, you gotta set that precedent off the bat. Like, because if you start growing and you're putting in all this effort to make sure you read every single message, and then you just keep growing, you're gonna be exhausted. Like, you gotta nip it in the butt. You gotta be like, all right, I'm gonna not read some messages. And then I started doing that, and then like 10 people left, like, average, and I was just like, wow, that's crazy. But I felt better. I was just like, holy shit. And my voice felt better. I wasn't talking consistently for like 7 hours. It was great.
You know what though? Like, it's your channel, right? And I think a lot of the times, especially when we're like growing, you feel the need to talk to everybody. But sometimes, like, and that's why I like the podcast thing, because like, I'm having a one-on-one. Me and you could talk about whatever the fuck we want, but if you have 20 other people that are expecting the same type of consistency,
and asking separate questions,
it's tough to keep up with.
Yeah,
yeah,
like,
it really
you're
is.
Like locked into a talk about like quesadillas, and someone busts in and they're like, "Do you like Fortnite?" You're like, "Wait, what? Where'd you come from?"
Hey, do you use aimbots? And they'd say dumb shit.
They just try to get you distracted.
Let me ask you. So you worked retail, so I'm very skewed on my thoughts about humanity as a whole.
Okay.
How do you feel about humanity? Like, is there a story that you can give about? It can be positive, negative. I don't give a fuck, and I'll give you mine.
Okay.
Well, I'll actually give you two. Okay. But go ahead. Tell me, what's your thoughts on humanity? And you know what? It's up to you.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about before and after or your thoughts, because I have a very negative sense of where we've evolved to, which is awful.
Which
but
I can understand.
It's true.
Yeah. I don't know. For the most part, like I would like to say like when I started working retail and stuff, I would take negative experiences and just view them as a funny story to tell. Like, dude, get a load of this asshole that I dealt with or something like that, you know? Because there's a lot of them, especially when you're in a customer facing job or customer service or something. There's a lot of people that think they like have power over you or something just because they bought a product. It's really weird.
They look down on you.
They do. They're like, oh, you work at McDonald's? Okay, well, like I'm better than you. Or oh, you're like selling me clothes? Like, dude, I'm a CEO, and it's like, okay, like, cool, dude.
Fuck you,
like
guy.
you probably sit around and do nothing if you're a CEO. Like I'd like to see you fold clothes for 8 hours. You'd probably be miserable. But yeah, I mean, like, I feel like it's easier to be negative about humanity these days, especially if you're on the internet a lot, because information spreads so easily. And also news cycles. I mean, even growing up, news cycles were always, you know, like just negativity sells. Like big headlines of murder or scandals or something like that. Those sell. Those get views. People
murder.
Yeah, I mean, keep it up with the Kardashians. People love that shit. It's like drama sells. That's why drama on Twitch is like a big thing or whatever. People love it, but
I'm pouring another shot as we speak because
but yeah, the people that I know and the people I interact with.
Look, man, hold on. Before you cushion this shit, say how you feel, bro. Say what you mean. Like this is an open forum.
I think
don't give a
interesting.
Shit
I don't know if
say.
I don't think I hate or dislike humanity or anything. I just think it's interesting watching it. I don't know if that's a normal point of view or something like that. I just think it's interesting watching, I don't know, like different social cues evolve or something like that, or how people interact with people, like especially after the pandemic and stuff like that, like the splits between people over vax or unvax, and how people's like opinions are more forward than they were before the pandemic or before even like 2016 or something. How everything's just kind of like worn on your sleeve in a way now. That used to not be the way. Like you didn't know someone was a racist or something until like you were at a family function and they were blasted drunk. Like it just used to be like that, you know, like you didn't know that shit until someone like randomly let it slip. Now it's pretty much on, like, you just know now, like people will be proud to tell you that. But yeah, I do think it's interesting. I don't know, dude. Like honestly, but I don't.
I asked the hard questions here. I'm sorry.
I don't feel negative about it though. Like, is the thing. Like, if I genuinely think about it, I don't feel negativity towards it. I'm just like, all right, like, I guess it's just like kind of a viewpoint of like evolution or something. Like, how humans have evolved over time, or how they've grown over time to deal with different circumstances, and now we're in the age of technology and stuff, and this is just how we've grown to be. I don't know. Like some of it fucking sucks. Like I'm not gonna lie. Like but also like you look back and or you have like family members like the old days are way better, and it's like you actually go like look back at it and you're like shit. Like actually no, it wasn't. Like, you know, like murder rates now are technically down, but it seems like it's up. You know, and then but if you go back to like violent crimes and shit like 40 years ago, it's actually way down. But it's like, you know, but people would be like, oh, back in my day, no one was getting shot. And it's like, like, actually,
you're
we
lying.
Just didn't have the science back then. Like, you know, like we DNA samples and all that. What was that? You know? But yeah, it's like, it's a big thing on perspective, but it's also, I think humanity in general does, I don't know, kind of suck in a way. Like a lot of people just kind of are selfish, I think, and I hate that about humanity, is just how selfish everyone is. But I also think like we're kind of moving past that, or at least I hope we do. I think we're on like a teeter tot right now. Like I think we can go either way. Like we can either go compassion and people will be more open and we'll kind of fix a lot of these problems, or it's just going to tip all the way over and like shit's, you know, it's going to get worse or something like that, which I don't mean in a doomsday way. Like you're not going to see an immediate effect of it. That's what I hate, is when people are just like doomsday shit. Like, oh, if this happens, like the world's ending. It's like, okay. But, yeah, I don't know. Like, I think the majority of humanity is probably pretty selfish, but or like not the majority, just a good amount of it. And there's I don't know, it's easier when you just kind of view it on a smaller scale, because you're just like, hey, the people I know are cool. You know.
Yeah, I mean, look, I agree with you. So I think that with the age of the internet, like, because I'm 36, so I kind of grew up in between.
Yeah.
You know, so when I was younger, we couldn't just fucking Google anything. Our phones were dumb as fuck. Yeah. You could text somebody at some point.
I was there for before the internet stuff. Yeah, I remember not Googling stuff. Right? And your teachers being like, you can't Google it. Google lies.
Wiki is awful.
Yep,
Don't use
Wiki's
that
not
as
trustworthy.
a source.
Anyone can edit a wiki.
Yeah. So like, but like, there's certain things, like, especially now, people are so, I think the best word for me is entitled.
Yeah, I would say
they just demand. They demand everything.
Yeah.
But expect to give nothing.
Yeah. I agree.
And it's kind of wild, like how it's transitions. I got my fiance's car, her oil change today, and this old man was in front of me, and he's freaking the fuck out. Like, I demanded my car to be done now, blah blah, and like, so then she's like, "Sir, that's just not how it works. Like, we had a guy call out today. Like, we're behind. You know, it's really hard to find good workers." So he's like circling the building, and I'm talking to her, and she's like, "Yeah, I work at a casino. Like, I'm used to this shit." I'm like, but like, you shouldn't be treating someone else like that.
Yeah.
And you know, for instance, today I pulled up to my house. You know, this was at like 5:45, right before our interview. The recycling bin that I put out this morning is not the recycling bin that was at the end of my house. So someone decided that the big recycling bin that I had was better than the small, shitty, medium-sized one that they had. So they took my recycling bin and gave me this tiny little one. God. And I'm like, what the fuck am I drink a lot. Okay? Me and my fiance love to chug beers. Okay? So if we're drinking glass bottles,
you need
that shit fills up quick.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm looking at it, I'm like, I get home, I'm like, whose recycling bin is this? It's not mine.
Don't they have like numbers on, or because they're assigned by maybe for us they're assigned by the county here, so you'd be able to tell, but maybe not.
Yeah, no. Here in Philly, they don't give a fuck. It's no holds barred with your recycling bins. So, and I get home and I'm like, all right, I'm definitely bringing this up in the podcast.
Yeah.
How the fuck does this shit? Why would you just switch my? It's a recycling.
They were like, no one's
bin.
gonna know. That's what they thought.
It's a $30 recycling bin. Yeah, no one's gonna know. No one's gonna know,
dude.
You know. But I'll tell you the last story about my thoughts on humanity. And I don't know. Here's my thing. I have faith in people, and I sometimes, for me, I trust people too much. And anyway, I'm in line. This was like 2 or 3 years ago, so it wasn't that long ago. It was right before the pandemic, and I'm trying to get some ham and cheese in the line.
Priorities. Yeah.
Priorities. Yeah. So as I'm sitting there, there's a huge line. This person, they're obese, overweight. They're in one of those handicapped chairs. They're making a salad. Cool. Nice. I'm happy that they're being healthy, except they're putting on so much ranch dressing that you can't even see the salad anymore. They're putting on ham and whatever is in the fucking salad bar. However, they drop it.
Ranch everywhere.
There's this salad all over the floor. Salad, ham, cheese, ranch. It's a mess. There's like 20 people in line at the deli service.
So you
we're all looking over
floor,
like,
right? Like a Hoover.
In my head, I'm like, oh man, that's some really good ham. What the fuck are they doing? So this motherfucker takes their automatic wheelchair. They roll. Okay, so this is one of those ones that like makes the noise.
The beeping. Yeah.
Just like beep, beep. They roll over the lettuce, the cheese, the ham, the ranch. In their cart, to set the mood here, we have Diet Coke, but they also have like Edmonds, which is a Philly thing, and like It's non-healthy things. They're backing over shit, right? You see like a trail of ranch
ranch under
as they're backing up. Yeah. Oh yeah. And they just wheel away and don't do anything.
What the fuck?
They don't tell anyone. They don't clean it up.
Oh my God, dude.
This guy comes out, right? He's clearly been fucking slamming cutting ham all day. He's miserable. He looks over. He's like, "What the fuck?"
Dude.
And I look at him like, "Bro, I'm sorry. Someone just dropped their salad and left." He just looks at me and like you can see in his eyes that he lost all respect for humanity at that
it's
point.
that easy. Yeah.
And for me, like that's kind of how I feel right now. And you know what? Look, there's certain people that do like I personally in my gut, and that's why I had you on here. I believe in your content. I think you're doing great for humanity. But there's other people that aren't doing that. They're actively promoting negativity. They're promoting that it's okay to lie and cheat and steal. And like, I'm sure there's always been people like that.
Oh, for sure there was. Yeah.
Like, as a society, right? Yeah. That's how we've always been. But it's gotten so much worse because with social media,
you actually know it's there all the time. Like you can see it all the time, multiple times a day. Yeah. Or maybe it's even influencing other people to do the same thing. You know, it's like, it's like it's a double-edged blade. You know, you get like information at the palm of your hand, but also you can see people doing fuck shit all the time. You know,
dude. And like, I wish I could tell you that like, you know, I've redeemed myself when it comes to that stuff, but I'm like looking at him, I'm like, dude, come on, man. Yeah. Like that poor guy, he probably had to fuck mop that shit up.
It's probably making like $8 an hour too.
Oh yeah, because it was a couple of years ago on top of it, before the pandemic, you know. But yeah. So another thing I want to talk about real quick. We're running a little long, but I'm enjoying myself. Your tattoos. Yeah. Talk a little bit about. Do you have anything that is meaningful to you that you'd like people to know? And obviously, if you're listening to this, you're not gonna be able to see him. I'll have this posted on YouTube. So
I have a couple of foxes, just because I kind of had like I don't know. I feel like I like foxes a lot. I think they're like super cool creatures. Like they're very smart, but like selfish, but you know, like clever, but they're also like super playful and everything. I just think they're super cool. And then I have one on my leg. I'm not gonna like stand up and show anyone, but if you come by the stream at some point, maybe I'll do it. Yeah. But I have one on my shin piece of a fox that's pretty high. Like it's a really nicely done one of a blindfolded fox, and that one Well, that's the end of that story. See you folks next week.
See you next week, everybody.
That one. I just thought the concept was really cool, of just like something that's so smart and clever and mischievous and everything, like being blind, like unknowing and whatnot. Also, one of my first ever dogs kind of like resembled a fox, so it was kind of like a tribute piece to him or something like that. But
like an homage,
kind of like we had like a family that lived a few houses down from us when we first moved to Florida. Like I was like 6 years old and we had this dog. And they were, I don't remember where they were from. It might have been China or Japan, or somewhere like Malaysia, something like that. The mom didn't speak English really well, so she had a pretty thick accent. So we were walking our dog, and she goes, "Is that a fox?" Like in her heavy accent, she goes, "Is that a fox?" And my mom looks at her and she goes, "What?" Like she was like, "What did you say?" She goes, "Is that fox?" So like that was kind of like a running joke. We would see my dog and we would go like, "That's fox," you know.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that was it's kind of like half an homage. A lot of my tattoos are just kind of like artsy stuff. I don't have a problem with people that get tattoos that are personal and everything. I don't like answering questions like that. Like when someone, it's like if you ever have tattoos or anyone that's listening has tattoos, you'll know you get questions about it like all the fucking time, especially if you work like a customer service job in person. They'll just make small talk and be like, "So," you know, like they'll bring up your tattoos because it's the first thing they see. Or even some people will use that as a conversation thing to try to hit on you and be like, "I like your tattoos," and you're like, "It's been like 8 years since I've been tattooed." I'm like, "Thanks." And they're like, "Oh, that didn't work."
Bro.
They're like, "Why didn't that work? I said I like them." But yeah, I recently just covered up a lot of my older tattoos with blackout stuff. Oh, we have to go back and redo some of that because something weird
Dude,
happened.
I really like that.
I do as well.
I like
it,
that. I like the blackout.
I
look,
do as well. I used to
honest.
not actually. That's why I blacked it out was because I mean we'll even like redo my entire torso and everything as well because like when I first turned 18, I had like canceled a lot of my college classes and then I got the credit back. So I had a prepaid plan that my grandparents got me, and I had just sucked at school, dude. I was just like, I know I'm not gonna go to school. I knew it. I felt it. I was just like, I'm just gonna get a job and do something. Like I don't want to go to school. I don't want like a giant house or with like a white picket fence and stuff. Like I'm comfortable being in an apartment and living my life and like meeting people and experiencing humanity and stuff. Whatever. I knew that from a pretty young age.
It's not for everybody.
So I got that money and then I just found a tattoo shop and started getting tattoos. And I thought I really liked traditional style tattoos. And then as I grew up a bit, and so many people will tell you this too, like you'll hear it if you start getting tattooed. People will be like, wait until you're like a little bit older to get them and you know what style you like. And I literally tell everyone that now. I'm like, listen, it's true, because like I got so many traditional tattoos and now I'm covering them all up. So I wasted money on that and now I got to waste money getting them covered up too.
Oh, yeah, here. Can you see this? So
yeah,
that's what I got, right? I picked this off the fucking board.
Nice.
So my cousin Mike was like, hey, I'm taking you. So I got my eyebrow done on my own when I was 18. And he was like, I'm going to take you to go get your first tattoo. I was 18. When you're 18,
you're like,
you don't fucking know a goddamn thing you want in life. So I just picked something off the board. They're like, yeah, that symbol in the middle means strength. I'm like, okay, great. Like a year later, 5 years later, I'm like, man, I really hope that's what that means, you know? And, you know, it's there. Yeah. It doesn't mean
it's a story though
anything to me. But it's there.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I view them though, is either like it's an artistic thing where I can look at them and appreciate them, or like some of them that I hate. I have a busted ass ghost tattoo that is super wonky and faded. It's not even like the same size eyeballs. And that'll get blasted over eventually. Same thing with my blackout finger, covering up a wonky ass finger tattoo. Like, you know, they're like stories. Maybe they look like crap, but like I look at them and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember the time and place and I remember the day and everything. Or I can just tell someone a funny story about getting a shitty tattoo, you know? Like, and that's fine too.
I really want to get like a half sleeve or something nerdy. Yeah. I'd really like to do like a Star Wars theme, like good versus evil. Because that's just like my thing, you know. Yeah, I really like Star Wars. That's like my
like vibrant color and stuff like that. As I have,
and like Vader versus Luke, and like, you know, have other shit in there. But you know, I guess I kind of haven't.
The hardest part, like, I feel like once you get that tattoo, not your first tattoo, or maybe for people listening that are thinking about getting one, once you get the first one, it's like the floodgates open. You just got to make the commitment to get the appointment, because it's a lot you're like thinking about it. You're like, all you got to do is take that first step, you know? And then once you do that, like,
planning is important.
Planning is important too. I mean, especially if you're getting a certain body parts tattooed and everything, like you got to make sure if you're getting something that like you're getting something done on your leg and you wear like tight khakis to work or something, you don't want to do that. Like, it's going to rub off. It's going to hurt, especially the first 3 days. Like, it's not going to be good for the tattoo. Like, you do have to plan around that. Or if your company doesn't want to see tattoos, you have to make sure you can cover it without the ink oozing through it. And there are things for that, but you're right. There is planning that goes into it. Plus also like the idea of it, or for my aspect, just finding an artist that I like and then going for it because I like his artwork and that's it. You know, some people operate like that. Some people need to put a lot of thought into it. But I think for the most part, it's like for people thinking about getting that first tattoo, just like freaking get it done in a place where you probably can't like sleeve it together, you know, like, but like it's still like a place that you kind of like, maybe like your thigh or your upper thigh or something like that. And then you have the tattoo, you can see how you react to it, how it feels and everything, and then make like an actual appointment. Like get like I get my first ever tattoo was a $20 Friday the 13th special tattoo. And I almost passed out, and then halfway through I was like, wait, this isn't that bad. You know, I got it done on my wrist specifically because it was tight skin. There's a lot of veins, a lot of nerves, and then it was fine. And I was like, oh, I can do this. Like, and then after that, it was, it was over. I got like a half of my arm done in the span of like 3 months or something like that. I was in the shop like every 2 weeks. My mom was pissed.
That's awesome.
But like, yeah. And she was like, if you get one more tattoo, you're gone. And she's like, all right, if you get one more tattoo.
All right, one more.
I would go home.
Like, well, hey, I was gone fucking 2 weeks ago.
I would go home and I would like be wearing a flannel. It's the dead of summer in Florida, like 100 degrees. And I'd be wearing a flannel. She's like, you're wearing long sleeves a lot, huh? And I'm like, yeah, it's cold in here.
It's been a little cold. The AC's been on too
Drafty
much
in here, isn't it? A bit nippy. She's like, what the fuck? I was like,
So in terms of like influential people in your life, I always like to, for me, it's always important to know kind of like where some of the things came from in terms of like your content and who you are. Who are some of the most like, you say 1, 3, 5, I don't give a shit. Who are some of the most important people in your life that have influenced who you are now?
My mom's dad, for sure. Republican through and through, but not in the way that you would think. Like, he's an old school Republican. Like, he voted Republican because it was like the thing back in the day, and then never stopped. It was like one of those things. It wasn't like he was like, create like how it is now or whatever. But like, still I'd like,
I vote for who I believe in.
Exactly.
I think I don't even know what I'm registered as, to be honest. I'm super liberal.
At this point,
I just vote for who I
don't even
believe
think
in. So
parties are necessarily a thing. I think people need to stop identifying with them and just go with whoever the fuck is gonna save the planet right now. Like, I think we're way past the party shit. It's like, Anyway, but he was such a good guy. He had like those older views of just like pull yourself up by your bootstraps or whatever. But like eventually there was a lot of developments happening in life. First time I was hospitalized and stuff for mental health. Like he came down and like I couldn't be left alone for 3 days. My mom couldn't take off of work or whatever, so he stayed with me. And we just kind of talked about stuff that he didn't he never really had talked about. Like you say, like back for him, he never opened up to his parents or anything like that. Like this was all new to him.
Yeah.
So I would visit them all the time and just talk to them about mental health stuff. Like, oh yeah, I've been feeling anxious lately, and they would ask me questions all the time. They'd be like, oh my god, like how do you? They would just ask me things like, how do you deal with that? How do you like? What does it feel like? Like all these things. They actually showed genuine interest.
That's awesome.
And he would ask me things all the time or give me advice and be like, but at the end of the day, do what makes you happy. He was just a really, really nice guy. Was always nice to everybody that he talked to, just random strangers. He would go out of his way to help people. But he was also like really stern, like you fucked with him and he was just like really, he put his foot down. He was like, he showed me that you can be nice, but also not let people walk all over you. I had to relearn that, and because I just took the be nice to everyone and do whatever to have people be nice to you. And then I never put my foot down. I had to relearn how to do that over the years. But yeah.
So it's I like to say it's an iron fist with a silk glove.
Yeah. It feels good to be fisted, or something.
Especially if it's silk. You never really know how it's gonna go.
Yeah. But he's great. I also started my love for coffee and everything like that, and good coffee. I mean, honestly, I could tell, like, as it is, like, I take a lot of things as lessons in life. My dad's parents, horrible people, I guess. I don't think they're ever gonna listen to this, but just real shitty people. Just in terms of like having a ton of money and holding things over my parents' head and stuff like that, like helping them out buying a house and then saying they didn't actually say they were gonna help them, so they just drowned in mortgage payments and shit and had to sell it and all that stuff. Alcoholics, like in the bad way, very selfish people. And I learned how to not be like that because of being around them. So honestly, like they're influential in a way that I learned how I don't want to be. And I feel like more people kind of need to think about that too. Like seeing or taking negative experiences and then being like, all right, how do I not do that? Or how do I learn from that and not do that as well? Because I feel like some people just be like, that dude's an asshole, and then they forget about it, and then they might do that same thing like later on accident or whatever instead of making a note of it. But
that's what makes us human, right?
Oh, for sure.
Is taking those experiences, whether they're positive or negative, and using them to adjust your own life. I mean, look, I was young. I was stupid.
Yeah.
I've made dumb decisions.
You make mistakes
I've
and you
made great
learn from them.
decisions.
That's all.
Exactly.
That's
But
all
if
it
you're
is.
not, if you're not learning from them, then you're just perpetuating the bullshit.
You're probably gonna end up repeating those mistakes too. Like
Or you're gonna be a serial killer. One or the other.
Yeah.
If I can killing people.
Yeah, that's it. That's the easiest. That's how slippery that slope is. You make the same mistake twice, you're a serial killer at that point.
So, you've been streaming for a while now.
Yeah.
But, you know,
A
I
few
consider a while,
years,
a couple years,
years or something like that. Yeah.
What is a good lesson you've learned as a streamer that maybe you can display to either people that are just getting started? Because this is not an industry you could just jump into and be successful anymore, right? There's a lot of competition. Yeah. So what is something you've learned, whether it's good or bad, and kind of talk about that?
Well, I mean, like back in the pipeline stuff, you gotta realize that a lot of people are out for themselves, and it's very few and far between that you'll find someone that is not actually out for themselves and are willing to help you and are in a good spot themselves too, with no strings attached. And you can't just find those. You can't just Google that person. Like you have to stream or put out content and eventually stumble onto that person, or maybe you don't even. Maybe you become that person. But the biggest thing is also just like putting yourself out there and like not necessarily doing it day in and day out, but also like watching your streams back, figuring out audio stuff. Like technical errors will shoot people away so quick. Like my capture card's been freezing lately and I had to buy a new one today. And that turns people off. Like even if my cam's not frozen, if my game is frozen, and for even 5 seconds and someone comes in, that's enough to turn someone away. Especially these days when there's so many people. But also like be yourself. I would say just be yourself, put yourself out there, and like, obviously if you have time, make a clip or whatever, watch your stuff back and learn how to be comfortable with watching yourself back as well as the biggest thing. That's what I had to learn 10 plus years ago doing YouTube stuff. Don't be scared to listen to yourself. Sit there and force yourself to fucking listen to yourself. If you're scared of how your voice sounds or how you look or something like that, get over it, because you're going to have to do it. And you can't do it without listening to that. Like you have to watch your streams back. You have to watch your clips back. You have to kind of be critical, but also more open to the content or whatever you're producing. And then put yourself out there, but also, don't expect other people to sort of like have your back all the time as well or anything like that. Like put yourself out there and then I don't know. There's a whole fucking checklist. Like there's a ton of shit, dude. Those YouTubers out there that say like how to grow your stream and stuff, it's not, they all have the same tips, dude, and it's not going to work. And they all tell you to just make clips all the time and everything, but it's a lot of luck. There are a lot of big streamers out there that'll tell you it's all luck, especially these days. Like 90% luck.
I can agree with you.
Yeah.
Like I started this podcast, my first podcast clip, well, actually it was my first full video. I got over 600 views, which isn't a ton, but for a first video, it's not terrible. My second one got 30.
Yep. It's
right?
not
so
consistent.
It really just it's not, and it's just dependent on how you present the material with the tags and all this other stuff. But I feel like I met you platonically. Although we met through kind of a shitty.
It was definitely an MLM in like streamer form.
Yeah.
But like it was a
time,
pyramid scheme in streamer form, which there are a lot of. But yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, big time. But like I feel like like I could come into your stream, you could come into my stream, and like I never expected anything from you, and by having you on this, I wanted people to see another side of you. So like I think that there is a positive to some of these things.
Yeah.
Like networking for me is probably one of the biggest things.
It's huge.
Because
yeah, for sure. I'm bad at it. I'm like really bad at it. But like that, and I'd probably go a lot further if I actually like networked more. Because everywhere that I got when I was up to like 40, 50 views, I didn't network for shit. Like I just streamed every day and that was it. I didn't post clips. I didn't do anything. But I probably could have gone a lot further, a lot faster, and that's probably why my growth was so slow, is because I didn't network. But
you have a great community, though, man. I mean,
cool, yeah.
those people,
very accepting.
Those people would fucking fall on the sword for you. Like they're like obsessed with you. They love you because, as I've been talking about, you put your heart on your sleeve, you talk about the struggles that you go through, and I think that a lot of people can relate to that. Too many people, they put on this fake smile, like, they whiten their teeth on the fucking video. They make their face look thinner, like, and like that's society.
For sure.
The Kardashians, like all those people, they perpetuate it. But I think you're part of the solution. It's why I really wanted to have you.
I appreciate that.
As a guest, because I felt like you were good to have on to talk about those type of struggles, because everybody has them, and especially as males, we don't talk about it enough.
For sure. Yeah.
I try to. I'm terrible at it, but I do try to.
And that's what counts.
I'm probably I'm more open than my dad was.
Yeah.
But I can be better at it. But you're better than me at it by far. I'll give you that. I'll 100% give you that. I did want to say, like, thank you for being here. Where can people find you? Your channels. Is there anything that's coming out that you'd want people to know?
Just getting back to the regular old schedule. Just doing a lot of bringing Freaky Fridays back, which are my horror game days on Fridays.
They're awesome, by the way. I love them.
Sometimes they're amazing, and sometimes you just find a real shitty horror game, and all you can do is just laugh at it. So sometimes it's a huge toss up on Fridays. Kind of all over the place. I do a lot of variety stuff with mental health, sort of like not necessarily in the forefront, but it's always open. It's not being shoved down your throat or anything like that. It's just a very open stream, and I'm down to talk about stuff.
It's organic.
It is. It's definitely organic. Yeah. We don't have like dedicated hours to like powwows or anything like, but pretty much just Parkerish everywhere. Just my name Parker, and then ish at the end, keep it real easy and simple. I think most of my stuff is just Parkerish. I think Twitter, I couldn't get it. I think Twitter is Hey Parkerish, but, if you just Google the name.
Because they're bastards. Those people are bastards.
I sent them a message. I was like, I'll give you $100 for this handle. And they never responded. I don't even think they use the account anymore. Maybe I hit up sport. I don't know. But yeah.
Awesome, dude. Well, listen, so I poured another shot. I probably shouldn't, but whatever. Fuck it. Who cares? Thank you. I appreciate you coming out. My
dog said thank you for
having me. The dogs are like, yeah, thanks for having us, man.
Thank God we can go downstairs.
If you're interested in the podcast, it's Drink O'Clock Pod on mostly everything. You can find me on everywhere you can get podcasts.
Hell yeah.
We'll have some stuff on YouTube. I'll put the whole video on YouTube.
I can't wait to.
And if you want some clips, we're just. My goal is for people to understand some people behind the veil, because sometimes I think people don't know the actual person. And, I think it's important because everybody goes through struggles. Everyone goes through positives. And I think that we can share a lot of those different things, especially for the younger generation that hasn't seen it. So thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate you hanging out. Cheers, brother.
I don't have anything left, but cheers, dude. It's been a pleasure.
Cheers. As I dribble down my beard, but thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. Have a great night.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Drink O'Clock podcast. It's closing time. Until next time, bottoms up, people. And we'll see you next time.